All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to look at a feature that, you've probably used 100 times without even thinking about it. We're talking about shake to undo, and we're going to uncover why this super simple gesture can actually be a huge roadblock for a lot of people.
So we've all been there, right? You accidentally delete a whole paragraph, you gave your phone this quick, angry little shake, and poof, like magic, a little box pops up to save the day. It feels so intuitive, so seamless, almost like the phone just gets it. It's a classic example of motion gestures in our tech. But what happens when that simple shake isn't so simple for everyone?
You see, for most of us, it's just a handy shortcut. But for others, that same feature can be really difficult, totally impossible, or even worse, something that gets triggered by accident all the time. This cool, intuitive feature can suddenly turn into an unintended barrier, literally blocking someone from using an app. So who are we really talking about here? Well, imagine someone with a motor impairment, like tremors. For them, a shake gesture could be going off constantly by mistake, or be impossible to do when they actually need it. Or think about someone whose phone is attached to their wheelchair. They can't just pick it up and shake it. And, it's not just about permanent disabilities. It could be any of us in any situation where we just can't make that specific motion. In this, right here, this really gets to the heart of the problem. The very same feature creates two completely different experiences. For one person, it's a convenient shortcut. For another, it's an impossible task or a constant frustrating annoyance. This is the core of this accessibility issue. Now, the good news is a really straightforward fix for this. It's laid out in the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. It's called Success Criterion 2.5.4 Motion Actuation. I know, that sounds super technical, but the idea behind it is actually incredibly simple. Okay, so this is the official language. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the key parts you need to zoom in on are can also be operated by user interface components and can be disabled. That one sentence gives us a really powerful and honestly elegant way to solve this whole problem. So what does that wall of text actually mean? Well, it all boils down to two simple actions for developers and designers. First, if you have a feature that's triggered by motion, you have to provide another way to do it, like a button on the screen. And second, you have to let users turn the motion feature off completely. That's it. Simple, right? So what does this actually look like in the real world? Because this isn't just some abstract rule. It's about making practical design choices every day. Let's look at a few really clear examples. Let's circle back to where we started, shake to undo. A truly accessible app can still have that neat shake feature, sure, but it will also have an undo button right there on the screen. This gives everyone the exact same power, no matter how they're able to physically use their device. Here's another one you've probably seen. Some apps let you tilt your device to flip to the next page in an ebook or a photo gallery. The accessible solution? It's so simple. Just have clear next and previous buttons on the screen. The motion becomes a nice bonus, not a mandatory action. And it's the exact same pattern for things like viewing large photos. If you can pan around an image by moving your phone, you should also be able to do it with a control on the screen, like dragging your finger or tapping some arrows. See, it's all about providing choice. Ultimately, this whole thing isn't just about following some rules on a checklist. It's about a shift in how we think. It's about trying to anticipate the needs of all kinds of different users and building tech that's robust enough to work for everyone in pretty much any situation. But of course, that raises a pretty good question. Right, what about those apps where the motion isn't just a little shortcut, but it's the entire point of the app? The guidelines are actually pretty smart about this, and they have an exception built in for when a motion is considered essential. So here's the official definition of essential. The core idea is that if taking away the motion feature would completely break the app's purpose, and there's no other way to achieve that purpose, then the rule doesn't apply. It shows the guideline is practical, not just rigid. And the perfect example of this is a step-counting app. I mean, the whole point of a pedometer is to use the phone's sensors to track your movement. You can't just have an on-screen button that says add 100 steps, right? In that case, the motion is totally essential to what the app does, so it's exempt. And this brings us to what I think is the most important takeaway here. Providing an undo button doesn't just help someone with a motor impairment. It helps the person trying to use their phone on a bumpy bus ride, or anyone who just feels awkward shaking their phone in public. Inclusive design isn't some niche concern. It's just better design, period. It makes the experience better for all of us. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you know what to look for, what other clever, intuitive features in the apps you use every single day might actually be creating these hidden barriers? Thinking this way helps all of us see our technology through a much more inclusive and, frankly, more interesting lens. Thanks for joining me.